You can take all the pictures you want of me, but I better not see them on the street because it's over. Get a picture with me and Harlow and we'll see which is more beautiful, darling.
Well, hello, darlings. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers. If you're fortunate enough to still have your father in your life, if he's still with us, give him a big hug and a big kiss. You'll miss it when it's gone. Hopefully, the way I have this rigged, let me fix this. Maybe I can't. Still recording? All right, I have this totally rigged. My spotlight is broken. I have a very bright light shining. Oh, and here's the great. The camera, when it's facing me, it's completely blurry. I can't see anything. So I'm filming this and I can see nothing. So I'm going to be doing this from time to time. You know, a girl has got a... Oh dear. No, no, no. You know, let's get some hair in here. Yes, darling. Guess who I've been watching? Crystal LaBeija, of course. I am so excited about tonight's vlog. This is a vlog. Tonight, the vlog is, may I introduce you to 3 women that I consider pioneers. Tula, Candy Darling, and Crystal LaBeija. So, I have to give credit where credit is due. I was completely inspired by YouTube creator Charles Frank. If you haven't subscribed or checked Charles's blog out, it's kind of a drama channel kind of mixed with everything. It's not really a drama channel. It's just a fabulous channel. I highly recommend it. And I will put a link, as I have before, at the end of this video. But I watched one of his videos last night, and it was about June is Pride Month. And I realized I hadn't really done anything for Pride. I haven't talked about it. And there's a reason for that, and I'm going to give you the reason. And first and foremost, I hope you understand what I'm about to say. As we say in Baltimore, there's no shade. And there really isn't. I'm going to be going through my complete gender reassignment very soon. At some point, I had to break away from the LGBT, not so much the community, but I'm becoming a real woman. I've always been a real woman, but I'm living life as a real woman. Now, that doesn't mean I don't support the LGBT community. Of course I do. And I know I'm not saying all the letters. Of course I do. But I don't consider myself gay. I'm a woman. And I know I'm trans, but I don't consider myself trans. And the first woman I'm going to talk about tonight, Tula, that's a good point of reference because she feels the same way. So, like I said, I was inspired by Charles Frank, and you know, in his video about the Pride Month, he goes into the commercialization of it and everything, and there is that, but there's that in everything. Wow, imagine when I was a kid, in Greenville, South Carolina, when I was a young thing, a hot young thing, if this kind of thing, if Target or Kmart, would be endorsing, Pride Month. Are you kidding me? I haven't been to a gay pride event since, oh my God, Atlanta, the early 2000s. And I was a showgirl at that point, so it was kind of like I had to go. My opinion is every month, every day should be Pride Month. And we should celebrate diversity in everything. I've always been different. Before Hillary Mansfield, there was Saffron Schenkenberg. Total club kid. And just pushed the boundaries of taste. The limits. I had seen the club kids, Richie Rich, Michael Alec, Joey Arias. on Geraldo, and I was so inspired. And it was a way to ease, for me, into getting people ready for what I was eventually going to become, which was a woman. And I talked last week in my vlog about how I began my transition. Before I admitted to myself, I mean, I always knew, but in 1991, I was in college, and I was watching the Joan Rivers show, and her guest was this very tall, statuesque goddess by the name of Tula, whose real name is Caroline Cossey. Look, I took notes. Caroline Cossey. She came out on the Joan Rivers show, and you know, Joan loved trans women, gay men. That was her thing. These were her people, and she treated Tula so wonderful. So Tula was from the UK, and Tula has been very open about her transition and what she is. You know, she was hounded and just, you know, treated so poorly by the British press. She was a Bond girl. She was in For Your Eyes Only, the first transgender woman in Playboy. She was also in Penthouse. She was in the Some Like It Hot video by the Power Station, which was like a spin-off of Duran Duran. She was something. After I do a little spiel about her, I'm going to show some wonderful photos of her. So, when I saw Tula on Joan Rivers, and she went into great detail about the sex change, now it's called gender reassignment, and I knew, I'd always known, but I knew, this is me, this is what I'm going to be doing. And in fact, I remember like saying to myself, that's me, looking at the TV saying, that's me, that's me. She's tall, legs from here to eternity. She had been married to royalty at some point. And when his family found out, they were basically about to ostracize him. So he said, I never knew. And I can't remember who was it. Geraldo asked Tula, did you ever tell him that you were transgender? She said, no. She said, but we had sex, so I assumed he knew. And the way she says these things, she's so smart. What she went through as a woman in Britain during a time when parts of Europe were, of course, accepting. Paris comes to mind. They've always been cool. England, they may have been accepting, but England loves trashy news and gossip, and they went after Tula. I mean, and she survived it. She held her head up high. For me, Tula is a pioneer because she broke barriers. She fought many battles that I'm the recipient of. She has also said she really didn't consider herself a part of the gay community. And, you know, I want to specify that when we say things like that, we know what we are, but we're becoming real women. And I know there are some trans women and gay men and drag queens who don't like us to say that, but that's us. Tula, myself, we were never men. You know, when you look at pictures of Tula as a teenager, as a boy, she doesn't look right. I don't look right. I look awkward. The only thing I inherited from my daddy was his shoulders and his height. Everything else is totally my mom. And if you see pictures of Tula and her sister, they look exactly alike. Tula made me feel comfortable and educated me on what was about to happen in my life. And for that, I'm so grateful. And I've said before, and it may seem silly, but it's true. She really was an icon for us glamour girls, meaning us tall girls, us glamazons. So I salute Tula during Pride Month. She is married to a guy who's really cute and, to my knowledge, lives somewhere near Atlanta, somewhere in Georgia. Caroline Cossey, Tula, I want you to know what an inspiration you are to me. She has a book available. I got my copy on eBay. I have since given it to another transgender many years ago. It's called I Am Woman. I highly encourage you to read it. I highly encourage you to get to know Caroline Costi. It's a great read, very awesome, goes into great detail. I salute you, Caroline Costi. I salute you, Tula. You are one of Hill Jane's pioneers. Now enjoy some sexy photos of this diva. This sucks so bad, y'all. I mean, I have no idea how this video is coming out till it's done. You girls got to get a new phone. I'm gonna just put a little thing here. If anyone knows where an inexpensive Android is, but a good one, if any of you guys out there are selling one of your good but older Androids that you don't want anymore, let me know. We can discuss it. We'll talk. So next, I have to talk about the very beautiful and tragic Miss Candy Darling. So, who is she and why is she a pioneer? See, this is one of the reasons I wanted to do this video. The kids don't know who these people are, and they need to. And I'll get to Crystal LeBeija in a few minutes, because if you don't know who that is, I mean... So, Candy Darling was a member of the Warhol Factory. So, Andy Warhol, of course, the famous, controversial, kind of pathetic artist. You know, he was very in the moment, and who's hot, who's hot. He kind of discovered Candy Darling, put her in a lot of his movies. He made very avant-garde movies that were in art houses, and he actually had said at one point that until Candy Darling, he had never seen a queen who didn't look really bad. So, Candy Darling was, as a young girl, she was born, I'm not sure the exact times, she was sometime in the 40s. She died when she was 29 in 1974, so what is that, 44, 45? She was considered a Warhol superstar. He had a tribe like that. So she got a lot of parts, you know, being associated with Andy Warhol. She got a lot of attention, became like a pop icon. She looked totally real. Francesco Scabbolo was a very famous photographer. He was the photographer who put Gia on the cover of a few Cosmos, and really, even when she was no longer in her prime, Gia Karanji, the tragic supermodel who I adore, he put her on the cover of a magazine just to help her out. So he loved things that were different. He loved Gia, and he loved Candy Darling. He actually tried to put Candy on the cover of Cosmopolitan. He kind of succeeded and he kind of didn't. So there's a few... the word is that he was trying to slip it in, and the editor, Helen Gurley Brown, found it and was like, absolutely not. We're not putting a transgendered woman on the cover of the magazine. And so he presented it to her. When he was trying to do that, Candy was on her deathbed. She died of liver failure, and the word is that she was overdosing on hormones, and that's possibly how she got it. But Scabbolo loved her, and as a present, he wanted to put her on the cover of something like Cosmo. That was the big magazine in the 70s. That and Vogue, of course, and still is Vogue. But Helen didn't go for it. I've heard a rumor that it was actually presented as a supplement in Cosmo. I don't know if that's true. I do believe it was an interview magazine, which was actually Andy's actual magazine. She was very in with the hip people who was stars and everything. And the thing about Candy Darling is that she was very nice, and she was very soft-spoken. She had a very Kim Novak type voice, but it wasn't as low as Kim Novak's, if you know who Kim Novak is. And that was like her muse. Like, I love Jane Mansfield. Candy Darling loved Kim Novak. She got a lot of attention for just being beautiful. And she brought a lot of awareness in her own way. to transgendered women in a time when, and I say this with respect to all my sisters, at a time when a lot of the women, Renee Richards, I remember, was very popular, and Renee Richards might maybe not be known for her great, stunning beauty. Candy Darling was something different to that. She was beautiful, and she got more and more beautiful. She's a pioneer because she had a very nonchalant attitude. It didn't affect her. She really had no concern over what people said. She lived her life. She was hip, and she was popular. A la Laverne Cox or the girls on Pose, but she wasn't an activist like them. But in her own way, she did break barriers because she just didn't acknowledge it. And I respect that. It wasn't that she was trying to hide it. Everyone knew what she was. She knew what she was. It was no secret. She kept it no secret. But her basic attitude was like, so what? And I relate with that. Listen. And after I, talk about my next pioneer, I'm going to talk a little bit about me and talk to some of the kids, the younger girls. Be yourself. Don't ever be someone who you're not. Don't ever be someone who you're not comfortable being. You be you. Candy Darling was her. She was a glamour girl. She was tall. She was beautiful. Again, she died of liver failure. I'm putting a picture of her on her deathbed here. She left a note. And in the note, in her hospital, she said basically that she always knew she would never last. And that she was just really, really tired. The disease was breaking her down. On her deathbed in the hospital, full makeup. There's a photo of it. In fact, it's going to be the first photo that I show. Full makeup on her deathbed. Now, that's a girl after my own heart. Andy didn't quite give her the respect that she deserved after passing. He was so weird. He was very in the moment. Who's hot now? Who's hot? Well, she's dying, so she can't be hot. And that was just the way he is. But I acknowledge Candy Darling as a great inspiration. Beautiful, glamorous. And her attitude was like mine. Yeah, I'm transsexual. But so what? There's so many other interesting things about me. Like me, she was very close to her mother. So I acknowledge Candy Darling. I hope you'll do a Google search on her and learn more about her. There was a documentary released on her back in 2010. Absolutely fabulous. Lots of rare footage. You can see just how beautiful she was inside and out. Candy Darling, a pioneer.
And that's why all the true beauties didn't come.
It's in bad taste and you're showing your colors and stuff.
I am doing it bad, but I have a right to show my color, darling. I am beautiful, and I know I'm beautiful.
Yes, ma'am, you are beautiful. And so much more than that. That is Miss Crystal LaBeija, founder of the House of LaBeija in New York City. The one that started it all. Started the balls. We see a lot of that footage, but I'd like to show you this footage. So I kind of switched angles here. I thought my little framed picture of me would hold this cheap-ass Alcatel phone up, but it didn't. This is probably going to be the longest segment because I have so much to say. So first and foremost, let's just get a little bit on Crystal LaBeija's personal life, which there's not much information on the internet. I just now found some rare pictures that weren't there 2 years ago because I became fascinated with her about 2 years ago when I first saw The Queen, the movie The Queen. That footage is from, for those of you who don't know, Crystal LaBeija. That is from a movie called The Queen. And it was filmed in 1967. It was a drag queen ball. Crystal herself was transgendered. She was taking hormones. Like Candy Darling, I hear that she was taking massive amounts of hormones. The footage that I just showed you, that's not in the movie. But after you see the way she's walking, that flawless face, that expression, how can anyone say that she didn't deserve to win? I love pageants. I myself have never competed in pageants. In my time in the club scene in my 20s and 30s, I did a lot of talent shows. I did a lot of costume contests. On the surface, the way she acted is how I would react if I didn't win. But that's not really why she reacted that way. There's a whole backstory to the queen that is edited out and made to look like she's just being a sore loser. And I'm going to tell you what I know about that. By the way, Andy Warhol was a judge in that pageant. If you haven't seen The Queen, it's here on YouTube and it's for free. So, she started the House of LaBeija in 1977. And she is credited for creating the house and ball culture. So, for many, many years, you know, looking at that footage, many people thought, what a bitch. But Crystal LaBeija supplied a home for homeless LGBT youth. That was the House of LaBeija. She created pageants for black contestants only. And there's in the footage, you don't really see her in what I've been able to show, but there's Alari LaBeija, who is like Crystal's best friend. She started the house with Crystal. She's the one that's got the black girl with the blonde bouffant. She's like, you know, do you think she deserved to win? You know, she and Chris, she's defending her friend. I mean, Lottie didn't even place. You can see in that movie, you know, the MC of the movie, and maybe the star, is a girl named, or the drag queen Flawless Sabrina. And I have to say, I don't know why anyone would want to be in a pageant like that after the way this woman, Flawless Sabrina, talks to people. And I have to say, kudos to Crystal LaBeija for talking. I'll sue the bitch. I love it. The way she talks to those contestants in that pageant, oh hell no. Can you imagine someone talking to Baltimore girls like that? The backstory of that movie is that it really had nothing to do with her losing to Harlow. What it had to do with the racism. She deserved to be more than third place. I mean, are you kidding me? You can see in the movie, she's wearing, all the black contestants had to wear white makeup. Are you kidding me? No. She had to wear white makeup. This was the final straw for her. She'd had enough. She knew she deserved to win. She was going to win. She had the best gown. She had the best shoes, the biggest hair. The makeup was gorgeous. And I highly recommend this film, The Queen, to any new beauty influencers. This is a great look at 60s makeup and style. You really need to check this out, particularly if you're into that kind of thing, and if you're not really, if your technique for 60s isn't up to par, because they do extreme close-ups. So she lost to Harlow. My opinion is, now, I grew up with a girl who was in pageants. Now, these were cisgender pageants. Queen and trainee pageants were never really my thing, but they're still similar. They're very political. Drag pageants are much more political, I think, than the cisgender pageants. But who doesn't love the girls walking down the aisle doing, you know, this and all that? I mean, it's fabulous. And the gowns, the feathers, the sequins, it gets to you. Someone who is a judge, has been a judge in pageants, is Peter Mon, and he knows a lot about drag and trans pageants. He's been to Miss Continental and everything. I knew many girls on the pageant circuit. Heather Daniels, Shauna Brooks, Raven, Candace Kane. I know Joey Arias. I'm not sure if Joey competed in pageants or not. But yeah, so anyway. It's amazing to me that Crystal doesn't get mentioned more for being a pioneer, because, and I guess it's the editor's fault. They wanted to make her just look like a sore loser. Is my emerald breaking? They wanted to make her look like a sore loser, but she's not. She did lose to someone. There's footage in there. She says, "You're young and you're beautiful, but you didn't deserve to win this, darling." And that's true. If you look at the footage, Harlow's wig is terrible. The gown is way too big for her. The makeup is atrocious. And the reason I say that is because, well, it's she's hardly wearing any makeup. I think Harlow had gotten robbed. Harlow was very close to Sabrina, who was the overseer of the pageant. Well, of course, Andy Warhol, who was a judge, is not going to pick the beautiful and seductive Crystal LaBeija, who happens to be a woman of color. Harlow was more his speed. What's interesting is that rumor is she died in 1982. By all accounts, she did. Harlow, however, has said that Crystal was at an event in 1993 and came up and hugged her. And this just blew my mind. More than likely, it was an impersonator, but there were other people there that were saying it was Crystal LaBeija, and that she still had that incredible personality. But by all accounts, she died in 1982. Again, liver failure. Again, two different accounts. One publication reported it was due to alcoholism, and many others have reported that it was due to an overabundance of hormones. Pepper LaBeija was Crystal's daughter. You know what I mean by daughter. In the LGBT community, you have families, and Pepper was Crystal's daughter. And Pepper is fluently shown in Paris is Burning, the 1991 documentary about the houses and the balls. And I dare say she's kind of the star. It's important to remember these ladies. Look at what she just went through. So, Crystal is a black trans woman, and she's standing up to the white power, and she's not backing down. As someone myself who's different, and I could never in a million years know what she experienced or what the black community experiences. I'm different myself, but I can never experience that. I often say that me and my transgendered sisters, we share a bond that no one will ever understand, and so do I can never understand what people of color go through. And I've seen it, I've witnessed it. I've experienced it with some of my boyfriends. It's atrocious, and I just bow down to Crystal LaBeija for standing up against a bitch like Flawless Sabrina, who had that rigged pageant. And she held her own, and she didn't back down. And yes, Miss Crystal LaBeija, you are beautiful. She should be remembered, just with all the other trans and drag and gay pioneers, because she is a pioneer. She started the whole house. And look at the culture and the amazingness that it's brought us. The noise you hear in the background, my roommate, they're all practicing for a ball. They have never heard of the House of LaBeija or Crystal LaBeija, and that breaks my heart. So I go on record. I am an admirer of Crystal LaBeija, and I will do whatever it takes to help keep her name out there. All of these women, Tula, Kendi Darling, Crystal LaBeija. These women have fought many battles that I am a recipient of, and that you are a recipient of. I have fought battles that you can be the recipient of. In the end, it's all worth it. You know, what I go through, what we go through to make it easier for the next girl. I don't know. I mean, we got to keep it real. We can be cute and say that we're going to be accepted one day. There's always going to be prejudice. There's always going to be the South. I'm from the South. They ain't changing anytime soon. You have to stand your ground. You have to be you. Don't back down. Don't give in to conformity. Don't let anyone tell you you're not fabulous. People are always going to try to make you feel bad because it makes them feel better about themselves. I'm amazed by the amount of bullies that there are. So, my darlings, this video is getting really astronomically long, and I really wanted it out before, Father's Day, but this phone takes forever to download on YouTube and the editing app that I have. So I'm going to go ahead and end this. I just want to say to Crystal LaBeija, I support you. You are a pioneer. You held your own, and you created a niche, and you helped change the world, especially our world. So I will see you tomorrow where I'm going to have one of my regular shows. So get ready. My entertainment vlog tomorrow. In the meantime, even though this is a vlog, go out and get you some.